Good morning. How are we doing? So, question I had about water. How much water should we drink in a day? If you come in and give me a hello, if you're on replay, drop a replay. So I thought I'd cover this as it actually comes up a lot. Like, what about water? Yeah, I know I should be drinking more water. And often it's like the 2 liters, 3 liters, and then someone else will say, I read online that if you have too much water, then I'll be deficient in minerals, etc. Now, the problem is when there's some truth in something, it becomes difficult to say, no, that's a load of rubbish. Now, of course, if you have loads of water, like you could die from overhydration if you have an excessive amount. But equally, I've got a coffee here. Okay, I've got a coffee here. Most people say, oh, that's dehydrating, right? And this is actually hydrating me more than it is dehydrating me. Yes, caffeine is a diuretic. However, there's actually more water in that than coming in than will come out. Now, in short, how much water should you have? So they say 2 liters, 3 liters. That's a rough guide. It's probably going to be dependent on a lot of things like exercise, sweat, heat, diet. Are you eating lots of fresh foods like vegetables, fruit, which contain lots of water in, which would be one hell of a faff to calculate. And maybe that'll be the next fad diet out there, where it's the water diet, where it calculates how much water you need in your diet. Anyway, enough of that. One pretty good way of doing it is to go, right, am I having 3 roughly clear wees a day? Am I weeing clear by noon? That's probably a good indicator. And this then led on to, how much then would that be? And it does depend. And I always say, have a glass of water when you get up. Have a glass of water with every meal. And then have a bottle nearby and just drink to first then. And you'll probably be there or thereabouts. Or have a drink when you have a hot drink as well. Herbal teas are great as well. If you're aiming for like 2 to 3 liters, that's fine. And it might be short term that you're running to the loo back and forth a lot. But see where you're at, like in a week from now. And if it's still happening, then maybe you could cut it down a little bit. But remember, like teas, coffees, they are hydrating you still, as is like things like fruit, things like vegetables. So sometimes it's a funny thing to consider. Morning, Lara, if you're ever craving something, like people are like, oh, I might just have one more bit of fruit, or might just have one more of this. Just consider, am I actually thirsty here? Because sometimes, when I'm a bit dehydrated, like, fruit is way more appealing. Like when I've done some exercise, the thought of having like an apple or an orange is like the juice feeling of it is amazing. I remember when I did a walk, Penny Fan, and I had some jelly babies with me, and I ran out of water. Long story short, and I was like, oh, these jelly babies actually hydrate. I could actually feel the fluid. And I'm not saying that jelly babies is the best way to hydrate. Don't take that from this. Morning, Liz. But my point is that we can quite easily be a bit confused with whether we are actually thirsty or hungry or not. So that's something to consider. So in short, 3 clear wees a day, or weeing roughly clear by noon, you're probably on course for a good day. If you want to aim for 2 to 3 liters a day, fine, see how you go with that. Remember, tea and coffee doesn't dehydrate you or anything. Just be wary of the caffeine, more so from a sleep perspective. But habit stack it is the best way to increase your water intake. Have a glass of water with your first hot drink of the day. Have a glass of water with every meal. It's probably going to help keep you fuller for longer. It's probably going to help you not to mistaken hunger for thirst. So I hope that helps. That is a wrap. Have an awesome weekend. Drink your water. Not too much, not too little. Just joking. Have some clear weeds, and I will see you later.